Welcome back to Poetry Corner. Our latest poem is another offering by Rudyard Kipling called Non Nobis Domine. Don't worry, the rest of the poem is in English. It was written for something called the Pageant of Parliament in 1934, which was a big public show in many acts. It featured 2,000 performers, and its purpose was to tell the story of the evolution of the British nation and the British state. It described itself as seeking to show people what they owed to British democracy, and it was to be a great celebration of all that had been achieved over 1,000 years of British political development and national might. For this event, Rudyard Kipling, the poet laureate at the time, was to write a couple of poems. And the most famous of them was this poem, Non Nobis Domine. I suspect it was not quite what they were expecting. It takes its name from the Non Nobis, a piece of music traditionally sung to celebrate national triumphs, and itself a setting of a piece from the Psalms. And the words Non Nobis Domine mean not unto us, O Lord. The opening words of this piece of music, Non nobis Domine sit nomine tuo da gloriam, were not unto us, O Lord, but to your name be glory. In this poem, I think Kipling is challenging and correcting some of the self-glorification of the Pageant of Parliament by reminding us of some rather bigger truths. So let's hear Non nobis Domine. Non nobis Domine, not unto us, O Lord, the praise or glory be of any deed or word. For in thy judgment lies to crown or bring to naught all knowledge or device that man has made or wrought. And we confess our fault, how all too high we hold that noise which men call fame, that dross which men call gold. For these we undergo our hot and godless days. But in our hearts we know, not unto us the praise. O power by whom we live, Creator, Judge and Friend, upholdingly forgive, nor fail us at the end, but grant us well to know in all our piteous ways, Non nobis Domine, not unto us the praise. Not quite the poem you might expect for a celebration of national achievement. As before, let me try and walk us through it briefly and then make some suggestions about what we can take away from it. The poem is a very simple one at its heart. It's reminding its hearers that however much we may feel we have achieved, we are human beings. And so it opens, Non nobis Domine, not unto us, O Lord, the praise or glory be of any deed or word. In other words, it's saying we don't deserve the praise or glory of any achievement, whether it's us individually or us as a whole nation, because in thy judgment lies to crown or bring to naught all knowledge or device that man has made or wrought. In other words, everything we do succeeds or fails as God wills, not according to our strength, but according to his choice. If he had chosen to do things differently, then all this 1,000 years of English history we were celebrating would have been 1,000 years of shame and disgrace and failure. We have only survived and prospered and come away with democracy as a nation, Kipling says, because God chose it that way, not because we were great or wonderful. And so we shouldn't be taking the glory for ourselves or for our nation of whatever is good in our history. Anything that is good in our history has been given to us by God. And just in case that wasn't subversive enough, Kipling pushes the knife a bit further. And we confess our fault, how all too high we hold that noise which men call fame, that dross which men call gold. For these we undergo our hot and godless days, but in our hearts we know, not unto us the praise. Kipling here cuts to the quick and makes it personal, and says that as human beings we live our lives for two things, fame and wealth. It's a bit of an oversimplification, but he's got a point. We live our lives either for the praise and the esteem of those around us, wanting to be seen as great or good or strong or successful or virtuous, or we live our lives to amass wealth, money, possessions, nice house, nice car. Kipling says that's what drives us in our life, and yet they're nothing. Fame is just a noise of people shouting, and it will be gone in a few years' time. And gold, well, gold is just the dirt of the earth, and everything we own, everything we achieve, is just earthly dust. It won't last, it has no greater purpose and value. Fame and wealth are very fleeting things. This pageant of Parliament was organised by some of the richest and most powerful people in England. I didn't recognise any of their names when I read the list. They were great, they were powerful, they were famous and esteemed, and now they're forgotten and dust. Praise, popularity, reputation, gold, wealth, these things don't last. God lasts. And yet we spend our days running after a few moments' applause or a few trinkets of wealth, instead of the God who is eternal. And Kipling makes his second verse a corporate confession for the foolishness with which we do that, running after what doesn't matter and ignoring what does. And so, having made his second verse a confession, his third one is a prayer. O power by whom we live, creator, judge and friend, upholdingly forgive, nor fail us at the end. Kipling is praying to God and saying, we've ignored you to run after things that can't satisfy, but everything we do is only possible because you allow it. Power by whom we live. In other words, we can only live and breathe because God gives us life. He could at any moment take it away. And therefore anything we achieve in life, we achieve because he allowed us, because he permitted us. He's the power by whom we live. And then Kipling hails him as creator, judge and friend. A wonderful sweep of all the things God is. As creator, he gave us everything we work with. Everything we create is created with materials he passed us, and brains and hands and hearts he made for us. He's the judge. He will assess at the end of time how we have used our days, and whether we have used them well or whether we've run after noise and dross, noise and dust. But he's also our friend, our father, our companion. And so, much as we make a foolish mess of things, we can still turn to him and ask for help, however foolish we have been. And so Kipling asks him in the poem, upholdingly forgive. In other words, keep us going and forgive us for our foolishness. Forgive us for running away from you and keep us walking, keep us running in the right direction again. Nor fail us at the end. Don't let us go at the last. But grant us well to know in all our piteous ways, non nobis, Domine, not unto us the praise. Kipling's final prayer is that God would uphold us and save us by reminding us how small we are and how big he is, that nothing we do or achieve is really to our glory but to his. The poem is an incredible plea for humility. It's an effort to reorganize our perspective on the world from a perspective which celebrates our achievement, our greatness, a perspective that values fame and success and wealth, to say, none of these things last. And actually everything we achieve is not from us, it's from God anyway. So what do we have to boast about? What should we be running after? The dust of the earth and the passing noise of popular esteem, or the creator, judge and friend, who has enabled everything good in human history, who has given us everything good in us and in our lives. Surely he is the one we should be running after. I don't know what high society made of Kipling's poem. I don't know what it made of a poet laureate seizing this celebration of national glory to remind everyone that none of it was to our credit but to God's. I don't know what they made of him seizing this display of wealth and high society to assert that wealth and social standing and praise were worthless, and only God was worthwhile. But I hope and pray that a few people were shaken out of their pursuit of little things like wealth and fame, and shaken into walking humbly with God. Long ago the prophet wrote, "He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of thee? But to do justly, and love mercy, and walk humbly with your God." I think from this poem, Kipling had grabbed hold of that last one. He walked humbly with his God, knowing that to him alone was the praise. Non nobis, Domine, not unto us the praise.